start off pretty gently in this session. Here we are just kind of warming up. It looks a little at the beginning like kind of pushing hands, so a bit like 7 stars or 4 directions, those kinds of drills. I've just slowed the video down here. You can see a couple of punches coming in. And people had said that we weren't doing enough strikes in our Tai Chi sparring. People got upset about me using that word as well. So I thought I'd slow some of the strikes down so you can see that we are actually doing them. Ian gives me a very nicely placed kick there just for me to practice a throw. He was being kind there, just giving me something to practice on. He takes me down in a second in a similar way. So you can see we're using knees, we're using strikes. There he goes, takes me down with a bit of extra force there. We don't punch to the head because we don't use gloves. So we can slap to the face, we can control the head. So here we come now. I think there's another punch coming in, just slowed down again. Ian gets me in the ribs. And then you can see another one comes in there. I come in for a punch, but Ian blocks it with his forearm. So this kind of continuous motion that you see, this kind of cyclical motion with the arms, that's Chin-Si, that's reeling silk. And we use it constantly. It's a great guard for being up close at this range, and that's the range that we work at all the time. We always stay in contact, that's one of our rules. Ian hits me again with a good one, a good straight fist under the arm. So we, as I say, the rule or the guideline is to maintain continuous connected contact. I take Ian down there with a bit of a trip, a bit of a throw. I come in there, you'll see that again later, that little step round attempt at a throw. I kept it in there because it reappears later on. So as I was saying, we stay continuously in motion, we stay connected, we don't punch to the face. The other rule we kind of follow is if we take the person down, then we don't go down with them. So we aim to use a technique that's going to take them down cleanly and that doesn't take us down as well. And once the person goes to the ground, that's kind of the end of the encounter. There you go, just follow that little push up with a couple of punches, you can see there. So as I say, I'm just slowing down these punches so you guys can see that there is striking going on. It's quite short and compact, so you can't really see it that clearly necessarily at full speed. So we're using sweeps, kicks, knees. Here we are just jockeying for position again, keeping active with the legs. I go for a bit of a half-hearted single leg attempt. And so there's lots of wrapping up. That constant shifting guard is dealing with, oh, Ian punches me again. So that constantly shifting guard is dealing with punches, and here Ian tries to take me down with a hip throw. I step out of it, just about. I think if he'd have bound in closer to me with the body, he'd have got me there, but I managed to escape. And so here we are again, fighting for position. The pressure is constant, so we're constantly on each other. There really isn't much resting time because when you're constantly in contact, you can feel what they're doing, and you need to stay alive to the possibility of something coming through at any point. So Ian attempts an elbow, I slap him to the ribs and I slap up high to his face. We do use elbows as well. We try and keep control with those so that we don't clatter each other. Here comes the cat. Here I go, wrap around Ian's head to try and take him down, but he follows me round, he picks up my leg. I kind of fight it off with my right arm. He goes for a hip throw and I sweep his leg back just to stop him following up with any more throw attempts or sweep attempts. Couple more punches from me there. So we're generally controlling the arms, locking the arms off and then punching underneath them. Here Ian goes for another hip type throw across the legs. I escape out the back and I put some head control on him just to move him out of the way. And we use a lot of that head control. That's a great way of changing someone's structure quickly, is by taking their head, Here comes Ian's punch. I thought I'd got it dealt with. His left arm comes in. Oof! That punch takes me out of action for a few seconds, as you'll see. You'll see me walking around in a circle trying to regain my breath. So that punch hit just under the right lower ribs. It winded me immediately in quite a strange and unpleasant way. I did carry on afterwards, but it took me a few seconds there to regain my composure. So here we go, trying to trip Ian. He's locking my arm, my hand under his arm. Go for a sweep attempt. Here you can see me bracing against Ian's neck and face with my forearm. Again, we use lots of forearms, lots of elbow control, and even shoulders and shoulder barges where they're appropriate. So the great thing is you can use all kinds of different techniques, but most of them are quite small and short. You've got limited space and time because we're so close, so the technique has to work in that. And here we go, here's my trip attempt that I tried earlier. This time unsuccessful. I take Ian down. Quite an odd technique, that one. We go for, I think this whole session was about 23 minutes. We didn't stop, apart from when he punched me and I was winded. That was the only real break. So we carried on like this for 23 minutes, which is, you know, that is physically quite testing. And people say sometimes that they don't feel there's much going on, but Tai Chi is very defensive. So a lot of what we're doing is just neutralizing what the other person's doing, which is why it appears like there's not much going on, because most techniques don't get finished. They get stopped before they're effective. Ian goes for a massive sweep on me there. I'm glad he didn't get that on. And we're getting pretty tired at this stage. You can probably tell there's a slight drop off in energy now. Ian gets a nice knee on me. I don't know if that gave me a dead leg, but it certainly could have done. I go for a kind of a hip throw. Ian's going for a single leg. He gets me there. We're both pretty tired at this stage. I think you can see from our body language. And that pretty much brings that to an end. So I hope you can see what our Tai Chi consists of. I hope you can see that there's a huge variety of things going on, but they're quite small, they're quite short. I hope you can appreciate that Tai Chi has very much a grappling, wrestling basis, but with added strikes. So often wrestling and grappling is, people will assume much longer stances, but where you introduce striking like we have, you can't take those long stances because it leaves your body open for shots, for knees, for punches. So we have to maintain quite an upright posture. So Tai Chi really does have a unique way of working martially. And hopefully this goes some way to explaining that. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.